I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet. Had zero separation and which is crazy because none of those things were true. I got zoned the entire game. I didn't get not one single man rep. So obviously there won't be any separation, and I'm not hurt and I wasn't a decoy. Just kind of how the game went. So I just know I'm excited for week 2.
I hear you, bro. And this is our players-only edition of Birds Huddle presented by Toyota. Barrett Brooks and our receiver, Jason Avant. Can you believe they left us in charge, bro?
They bet have. We so good looking, they had to.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, that was A.J. Brown talking about week 1 performance. What do you think about that?
Well, I think A.J. Brown deserves the football. He is one of our best players, and he's dynamic with the ball in his hand. You don't have to wait till he gets down the field. Throw it to him at the line of scrimmage. Look at Deebo Samuel and what he did against the Giants. We can get him the ball in a myriad of different ways. Let's do that.
No question. Slants, screen plays on the inside.
Handoffs, anything.
Just give him the ball, you know what I mean? But, that's time for our 3-point stance presented by Toyota. We welcome in another player, our guy, Brian Baldinger. Hey, Baldy, thanks for coming on, bro.
Barrett, Jason, it's good to be with you guys, man. Good to talk football with both of you.
Definitely. Well, the Eagles have to get A.J. more involved, Baldy. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I would just start off, honestly, Barrett, with just a play sheet. Like, these are A.J.'s plays. I don't care what defense they play. A.J. was spot on. They played a shell zone the whole game. The way that you get them out of that is by running the ball, and they didn't run it well enough to get them out of it. But I think exactly what you just said, Jason. There are the quick screens. There is the quick game. There are slants that was there. There was a hot read against a blitz, and A.J. was looking for the ball. Jalen didn't see it. That happens. I thought there was some times where he could have thrown it on comebacks against that zone, and he decided to hold it, which is fine. That's Jalen's prerogative. He sees the game the way he sees it. But I think there's got to be a play sheet for A.J. He's such a dog out there, and his mentality is really what kind of is part of this whole Eagles success that they've had, is that mentality of his where I'm going to impart my will on you, and I'm going to break your sword along the way.
Yeah, KP got to give him the ball, So how would you suggest they do that for him?
Well, like I said, you can do it right when the ball is snapped, like Baldy just said, but also call some routes down the field. The Cowboys were able to get people underneath that short and intermediate game, so that means some stutter stops, some posts, some goals, some things down the field. The offensive line did a good job in pass protection pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, I thought they did a nice job also, but just like you said, I just think he's such an opposing player. When you just throw the slant to him, just like you said, a quick stream to him, let him use his body. DBs fear him. They don't want to go in and tackle him. So you're right, there is some things that they can do to get him more involved, but it takes them doing that, All right, let's go to number 2. The Chiefs are going to focus on stopping their run. Saquon, they got to get him out the game. How do you think they do that, Baldy?
Well, they went to a package in the Super Bowl. They'll go to a package in this game where they play their 3 big linebackers: Nick Bolton, the middle linebacker, Drew Tranquil, and Leo Chenal. Leo Chenal looks like a defensive end. He's probably their strongest player. But Spags will have those 3 guys on the field, and the way that you get those guys off the field is by, basically throwing it. You basically got to throw them out of it. And so it might be that type of a game where you got to throw it to open up running lanes. But that's going to be his counter. He'll have his big cows inside, Chris Jones and other defensive tackles, but he's going to play his 3 linebackers as much as he can to try and negate Saquon's big plays. And Saquon's big plays come when he's got a really good lane to build up that speed. And if you can get him before he gets started, you can have success the way the Cowboys did last week.
Well, you see how Saquon is gifted out there. Would you suggest them get into a read option? What would you do to get him involved in?
Well, the thing is, to get Saquon going, you're going to have to pass him out of it, just like you did in the Super Bowl. The receivers and Jalen Hurts, 221 yards. Jalen also had 72 yards rushing. So there's multiple ways to get Saquon the ball, but initially it may have to be passing first in order to set up Saquon. It's something that we're not familiar with, but getting on the edge, getting A.J. Brown the ball, Devontae the ball, and spreading it around outside will open up the running lanes for a guy like Saquon.
Yeah, but one thing, we have to think about, Dallas Goedert is not, practice. He hadn't practiced this week, so Baldy, if they don't have him, their best blocking tight end, how do you go about, maneuvering through that?
Well, they'll have an extra, they'll put Fred Johnson in there, as an extra tight end, when they want to run the football. They have all those, all those adjustments that they can make by, throwing an extra lineman in there. So that may be something to look at. But, it's always the next guy's up. Calcaterra, the next guy up is always the way it is. They played without Dallas a bunch of games last year and the year before. So they're used to being able to adjust if Goddard isn't out there. But he is, like he was last week. If you want to take away the outside, it's going to be tough to take everything away from the Eagles. And, there's a reason why he led them in receiving against Dallas.
Yeah, well, I'm just going back to the old way that you do. Just go out there and impose your will. I mean, I don't care what they didn't put 8 in the box. Just have those big guys up front, the best offensive line in the NFL, guys coming off the rock, just hitting guys. Maybe run traps, run power. The best playing football, you double team front side, pull the backside guard. Just simple football, just pound the rock. I don't care who's in there. So I just think they need to do that. That's just for me, old offensive line, just like yourself, Baldy. Of course, Jason wants them to go outside, but hey, at the end of the day,
but Barrett, that play you're talking about, that power play where they'll pull Dickerson or and they'll double team the front side. That play can break anywhere. It can break outside. It can break backside. Like a guy with good vision like Saquon, he's going to find the daylight and the softness. But, you got to secure the line of scrimmage and not allow penetration on that play.
Yeah, and that's it right there, what I'm saying? It usually breaks behind the center, but, hey, that's just, me talking. All right, number 3, the defense. I mean, they're going to have to get the work done for them. Can they have a dominant performance like they did in the Super Bowl? Can they do it, have a stop a guy like Patrick Mahomes? I mean, this is going to be tough. He's still Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I mean, Milton Williams isn't here. Josh Sweat isn't here. Some of those guys that were a big part of just basically getting Mahomes running for his life aren't here now. They were prepared for that. They've made some adjustments. It'll be good to get Jalen back out there, Jalen Carter. I mean, he draws a double team nearly every time, so he'll draw Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey. It should free up a lot of one-on-ones for Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt, some of those guys to get after it. That's part of it. But I can't imagine that the Chiefs would be down 34-0 in this game on Sunday in the third quarter like they were in the Super Bowl. So, I think it's going to be played differently. Mahomes had a very good first game in Brazil against the Chargers. But he missed a couple of deep shots to Tyquan Thornton. That's a guy to look for. He ran a 4.28 40 coming out of Baylor. He's a speedster. He got behind the Chargers 3 times. They connected on only 1. But he's a guy that you have to pay attention to, I'm sure. And he's going to line him up against Adoree Jackson, whoever's the opposite corner of Quinion. So just look for that, on Sunday.
Well, you say Thornton, Jason, you see Thornton. You still got Hollywood Brown there. What do you think about Patrick Mahomes? Is he still the Patrick Mahomes we've seen in the past?
Yeah, he has a better offensive line. They held up really well versus the Chargers, and yes, he has weapons and guys like Thornton and Hollywood Brown, and you still have Travis Kelce there. So he is a dynamic player. Mahomes is. He still has the magic in his arm. I thought late in the game against the Chargers that, Kelce let him down with a late drop. I thought Hollywood let him down with a late drop. So these guys kind of let him down this particular game, but the ball was in the right place in order for them to win, with the exception of the ones that Baldy talked about, the down-the-field throws. I thought Patrick Mahomes played a really good game and used his legs a bunch.
Well, he used it more than I thought he was going to use it. But, hey, Baldy, I mean, who do you think wins this game?
I think the Eagles are a better team all the way around. The Chiefs, outside of Chris Jones, maybe Karlaftis a little bit, but they don't have great pass rushers. They need Spags to call the right blitzes to get pressure on the quarterback. I think the Eagles are still a very, very solid team. And the way I saw Jahad Campbell play and they go with Zach Bond, and I know what Jalen's going to do when he's in there, they should have a good defensive performance. And so then it's just a matter of cranking the offense up a little bit here. But I think the Eagles are a better team like they were on Super Bowl Sunday, and they're still a better roster right now.
I think the same thing, but, hey, at the end of the day, they got to play the game in between the lines. Spags is a great defensive coordinator. You can't take that away from him. And that's pretty good guys on the outside. But thanks, Baldy. We appreciate you chopping it up with us, man.
You bet, Barrett. Take care, Jason.
Yes, sir. Hey, time for the playbook presented by Supercuts. We're talking Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes in depth on the other side. So much more of this Birds Huddle Players Edition, brought to you by Toyota, our automotive partner of the NFL.
With all of these questions about can Jalen Hurts come through in the big game, you better put some respect on his name.
If things follow suit, Jalen Hurts is going to be your Super Bowl MVP.
It's been a long journey. It's been a journey of ups and downs and highs and lows. And I've always stayed true to it in the end. And having this vision of just being the best that I can be. And that evolving over time into this desire and this flame inside to win. And you don't do great things without the guys around you.
All right, well, in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts was up to the challenge presented by First Trust Bank, official bank of the Eagles. He was great in both Super Bowls. Jason, what is it about him that allows him to rise up to another level?
Well, he's a big-time player. He's been through a lot of adversity, so these games don't mean as much to him as it does everyone else. He recognized that I need to worry about this play, and he goes out and performs at the highest levels because of all the adversity that he's been through, and he hears all the noise, and he hears all the haters, and he internalizes that and takes his game to a different level, and I believe he wants to be one of the greatest to ever play. He would never say that, but I think Jalen Hurts has that mentality, so he wants to grow, and that's our Jalen Hurts.
Well, I mean, that's what makes him who he is, you know, how hard he works, even the company he's around. You look at it, you know, he's around Jordan, you know, guys that have been to that highest level, and he's learning from them constantly. I mean, we've heard him calling what's his name?
Peyton Manning.
You know, Peyton Manning, talking to him, defensive coordinator for the Giants. He's done all these things to make sure that he can say, all right, what did you see to make you throw that blitz at me? You know, what am I doing to keep this up? The way he prepares himself, he's always wants to be the best version of himself he can be. So I think he practices like he wants to be great. So in turn, he plays great, especially in big situations. So, I mean, can he do it this Sunday, though?
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is primed for a good game. The reason is because Spagnuolo likes to blitz. Unlike the Cowboys this past week, was very passive, very vanilla, and was making the Eagles be patient. I think Spagnuolo, his default is blitz and aggressive. And I think Jalen Hurts does better when he recognizes that and he knows that about the defensive coordinator. And it leaves some running lanes. Herbert was able to seal the game this past week on a scamper, and he had 32 yards rushing. What is 32 yards rushing for Justin Herbert?
Right.
That's about 70 yards rushing for Jalen Hurts. So I'm looking forward to that from Jalen Hurts.
I think the same thing, you know, because when you blitz and you don't get there, that leaves a lot of stuff open, you know, even in the passing game. And once again, you know, we're not talking, you know, as much because he relies on his offensive line to protect him. And then once he does get out, he can run. So those are all things. You know, that play they call a +1. When you have 10 +1 that you have to defend, you have to defend all 11 players. It's really hard on the defense. So I don't know if Spags blitz him a lot this game, even though he does blitz. I only blitz him a lot because I don't think he can handle the guys on the outside, especially with Dotson stepping up. So that means 3 great receivers that they have to look for going into this game. To me, I think that, you know, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, I think Jalen Hurts does it again. He stays on top and plays better than he is, you know. So, hey, what are the Eagles going to do against Patrick Mahomes then?
Well, so Patrick Mahomes, the Eagles have to do a few things. Patrick Mahomes has kind of changed this game around. He's starting to run the ball just a little bit more because he has a lack of weapons. So Patrick Mahomes, we have to worry about the spy. I thought Jesse Minter for the Chargers did a dynamic job of trapping him a few times with a spy out there from the linebacker position that was able to sack him in the running situation. So that's one element, but he has magic in his arm, and he has a knack for making plays, whether he's going down and he flips it to a guy or he's off his back leg and he throws it deep, a guy ends up catching it. We have to be disciplined with this guy because he's still magical.
Well, I mean, I said the same thing. And one thing that we did great against him in the Super Bowl and when we played him, it's not necessarily a must rush, but what we do, we guard him a little differently when it comes to it. They're going to collapse the pocket up the middle, but our defensive end can't go out there and freestyle. They've got to must rush. They've got to push those tackles into him. They can't allow him to get out in space, and that's when he's great. When you allow him to get out in space and move around, that's when he sees things because he can see the entire field, which makes him a great player. So I really think that they need to keep him in the pocket. If they can keep him in the pocket, rush him from the outside, collapse the pocket, and with us having Jalen Carter come back, and he's going to come back with an attitude. He didn't play last week. He didn't get any workout in. I mean, he's a little mad right now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talking trash about him. He's going to come with a vengeance. But if they can keep him contained inside of there, I think it'll be a great game against Patrick Mahomes again. We just need Jalen to go out there and ball like he's been balling, going into the situation. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing what he do against Patrick Mahomes going to this game. Hey, when we come back, we're talking linebackers. Yes, linebackers. Here in Philadelphia, I think we have the best duo in the NFL. This is Birds Huddle, Players Only Edition. Let's go.